Welcome all you wizards and witches and all you in-betweens. My name is Ronan Odd and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving a wizard's introduction to the Pentagram. Hopefully you can see that. This room has windows on three sides of it, so the light is always kind of playing a battle with me. But you know what? It's meant to be, so I'll just go with the spirit flow and let it flow. Got a lot of light coming in, but anyways, this is my pentacle, which I use on my altar, and it is made of brass. Pentacles can be made with, metal, stone, wood. I like metal because it is a very good conductor and a very good conductor of energy. Really cool. Adds a lot of energy to my altar. At some point, maybe in another video, I will go into metals. Very, very important within magic. And besides the sunlight going on here, coming in from all directions and glowing and all that good stuff, which I love it. It's good, it's good, it's good. I smoke cigarettes. Sometimes I smoke tobacco. Sometimes I have organic herbal cigarettes that I smoke. So you may never know if I'm actually smoking tobacco or legal organic herbs, non-illegal herbs. But anyways, I do smoke, so it is what it is. You know what? On the pentagram, I won't even get into the pentacle. I'm only going to focus on the pentagram. It's way too much to try and get into one video, and we're all so busy. I'm gonna try and keep these videos, roughly 20 minutes, because we gotta cook dinner, we gotta wash clothes, we gotta work, da 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 da. But you know what? I've got some notes here. I know a lot of this stuff because I've been in the craft for many years, but notes help out just so that I don't leave something out that I would think would be of relevance. This is really interesting. The first and most obvious witchcraft symbol is the pentagram. It has showed up in almost every ancient culture. Forms of this symbol have been found in Latin America, India, China, Greece, and Egypt. It has been found scratched on the walls of Neolithic caves in rough diamond shapes. The pentagram was used in Sumerian texts to mark directions, and in Babylonian drawings where it marks the path of the planet Venus. It was a secret pagan symbol. This here also would be another video, because my spiritual path actually gets into physics, and I'm not Wiccan, but within the Wiccan tradition, they kind of lost a lot of the alchemy that goes along with it. But in my spiritual path, I have it. Pythagoras. Very interesting man. Pythagoras, the Greek mathematician and philosopher, held the number 5 was the number of man because of the fivefold division of the body, as well as the ancient Greek division of the soul. He used the pentagram to symbolize the 5 elements that made up man, earth, air, fire, water, and mind or self, which is at the top of the pentagram. Um, Scriptures, especially Hebrew, are abundant with references to pentagrams. Even Christians have used the pentagram as a symbol of Christ during the Renaissance. Very interesting. The pentagram is a witchcraft symbol of protection. And really interesting stuff. The terms pentagram and pentacle are often used interchangeably, but there is a difference. A pentagram is the drawn symbol. A pentacle is an object in the shape of a pentagram. The pentagram is not always the straightforward 5-pointed star in a circle. Sometimes it is disguised within more intricate shapes to hide its significance from the uninitiated. That could go a lot deeper. Anyone that's been in the craft for a while knows that if you were to take a pentagram and make it three-dimensional, everything changes. But again, that would be another video, which I really like. I've researched that for many years, but it's another video. The pentacle is also a tool used in ritual, as I said earlier, usually made of wood or metal. Some practices place it on the north side of the altar. And it would correspond with earth. I don't necessarily do that on my altar. I actually put my pentagram in the center of my altar, which is fine. You know, I will say that, you know, the more you research it, you're going to find out that in the Western ways of setting up an altar with the elements, the directional correspondences to the pentacle, it can change. It's you know, in nearly all post-Levi systems, which Levi again is another video which I really like, because it is, but I just want to stick with the basics here. It is traditionally to have the 4 classic elements aligned with each of the pentagram's points, often as a twist of the cardinal directions. Air and water are paired as the upper pair, left and right, respectively. Air is associated with the east and water with the west, while earth and fire are on the bottom pair, also right and left respectively. Earth is associated with the north, fire with the south, and the uppermost points belong to the loosely defined spirit. However, this system might not be accurate, as older sources disagree with this notion. So, you know, You have to really dig through some ancient texts, but yes, the elemental directions, they do change. Um, for me, I have as Earth, excuse me, I have as Earth as green, the color green. Um, you can also use brown. There are some people that will actually use black. As we know, black and white are kind of can be any colors. Uh, I use green on mine. If I didn't have a green candle, I'd probably use white. I'd probably use brown. I might even use black. Um, for air, I'm using yellow. Um, water, of course, is blue. And fire is red. Now, when you get into a lot of these elemental directions, they are changing, and you know, depending on what part of the world you live in, what hemisphere, these things change. Um, my altar is has a lot of stuff on it. I do try to coordinate it the best possible way I can. It's actually a very narrow, long, rectangular surface. Um, so I do try to correspond um, the elements uh, the best I can, the way I see fit to do it. I haven't done this actually yet, but I plan to because with the ancient text, and they are suggesting that the way that we have the elements set up in the West really is not accurate. But pretty much since I've been in the craft for lots and lots and lots of years, I pretty much used it the same way uh, with, you know, always the north being earth, green. But I find the pentacles, this one here, as I say, is made of brass, and I have a lot of metals on my altar, and I just think that metals like colors carry their own frequency, of course. Um, so, anyways, that was just my choice. Some people will use gold. Some people will use silver. You could use copper. Um, I've seen some really nice wooden engraved ones, um, which actually are very beautiful. Um, but this is it's a little more interesting things about the pentagram. You know, It's considered to be one of the most important tools in witchcraft, uh, predating any kind of so-called organized religion such as Wicca, um, going back just thousands and thousands of years prior to that. But I'm thinking that this, and I'll just mention this, and I will do this in another video because we in witchcraft we have not yet absorbed this, and it would change the entire system. But just to throw this out there, just for whatever, there is a theory that there's actually a fifth element. So that would rock the boat, but that would be another video. And when you get into alchemy, you do find out that other than air, water, earth, and fire, that there is actually a fifth element. But just a little, I mean, most people that have been in witchcraft would already know this, but for the newbies that might not have any idea on it, just kind of a brief synopsis of it, what the element might mean and correspond to. But this is one theory, one interpretation. And I've seen many over the years, but this is one. Water is the element of love, that which unites and bands us to others and to the universe around us. Water represents the religious elements of Wicca. Well, you know what? I'm not Wiccan, but more power to them. You know, Nevertheless, water generally is associated with love. It is cleansing so that you can love someone. Um, it definitely unites and binds. Fire relates to energy, will, passion. Fire is assertive, fire being associated with the color red. I use it really when I'm casting spells. I use fire. Fire is quick, it's red. If I'm making a talisman, I'm gonna use you know a red cord, a red cloth, red fabric, a red candle. Uh, love colors. Very important in witchcraft. Earth. Um, it's considered wisecraft is earth, the practical knowledge of the wise woman and cunning man. Interesting. That's one interpretation, of course. And again, earth is green. Um, I use the color green a lot too. Associated with money. Love it, love it. Air relates to the mind, intellect, word, thoughts, philosophy, our ideas about the universe and about our worldview. Air is yellow, You know, a lot of people will use this in love spells. It's a happy, loving, caring color. You could also use orange for this type of spell. Love spells, calming spells, for depression, whatnot. Um, so you have the spirit, which is always the top point on the pinnacle, and it represents the infinite consciousness. In my view, it's the spirit. We are the spirit. Um, yeah. So I just kind of, I don't know why, but I'm always drawn to fire. When I do, there are two spells that work incredibly fast for me, and of course, one being fire, because if you write something down on a piece of paper and you burn it, and when it's burnt, boom, that spell has instantaneously been transmitted to the ether. Love fire. Um, there's another one. When I do jar magic, I use water, and I've done a couple recently. Now, water, and being a free spell, I'll get my jar, I put all my corresponding herbs into it. I might write something down on a piece of paper with a marker that is a power color like red or purple. Purple, uh, very powerful, just like red. Write it down on a piece of paper. I put it in a jar. I got my water in it. Um, I write it down on a piece of paper. I take a piece of foil. If I'm wanting to bring something to me, I'll fold it all towards me. If I want to take something away from me, I fold it away from me. And that piece of paper and that foil, I'll put it down into that jar with those corresponding herbs for that particular spell, put the lid on it, put it in the freezer, and freeze it. And I'll tell you what, a fire spell may be instantaneous, but I tell you what, when your spell freezes in a jar spell, it happens really quickly too. I'll give you an example. I was getting phone calls from about 8 in the morning to 10 at night, 6 days a week. Got really tired of it. So I did a freeze spell. The very next day, the phone calls stopped. For about 3 weeks, I never got a phone call. The freezer went on the blink, and I didn't realize that my jar freeze spell, had thawed out. And when I realized that that jar spell had unfrozen, the phone calls immediately started back. Shows you the power of magic. But I bring up those spells simply because, of the pentagram. very powerful. The elements involved in it, you know, each one's, um, definitely, definitely a powerful, uh, definitely power in the pentagram and the elements. One of the things that in my research in witchcraft over the years, you see that center part. A lot of the research that I've done suggests that the center is the self, and so you have your four elements. At the top you have your spirit, and in the center is the self. Thought I'd just throw that in there. But in a later video, the pentacle, you literally could just, there is, you could have a gazillion videos probably on the pentacle alone. The pentagram. I keep calling it a pentacle, but the pentacle actually was my first introduction, but of course, as we know, the pentacle within a circle, indicates that it's infinite. It's, no beginning, no end. But there can be just so much information um, on the pentagram that it can't be in one video, because I know you have to go make dinner or go shopping for dinner, ingredients, the drill, take the laundry out of the dryer or whatever. Um, but early in the video I mentioned that if you take a pentagram and you make it 3D, it becomes something entirely different. And it gets into hermetics and Pythagoras. It just, he was just amazing. How he was able to put all this stuff together. But Pythagoras and uh, the Fibonacci spiral and the golden ratio, the golden mean, some people call it, all can come right out of this. So, that was a little brief introduction on the pentagram. But I have lots and lots of stuff that I could say about that, especially when you start introducing the Fibonacci spiral in conjunction with the golden ratio. Lots of mathematics involved in it, but somehow during the development of trying to bring witchcraft into a religion, with some of these religions that have sprang up and tried to make it earthbound, which is fine, but there's so much physics involved with the pentagram, and it's a lot more than simply, the four elements that we all know of. Of course, I did mention the fifth element, but people are not ready for that yet. But anyways, I could make a video on that actually and blow you away with it. But anyways, my witches and wizards and all your in-betweens, I hope this was a little bit informative for you. I'm kind of new at making these videos, and hopefully it'll get better. Now I can see I got all this glowing around me and stuff, but it's cool. Maybe you can see me, I don't know. Perhaps you can hear me. But anyways, thank you again for viewing this video. And my name is Ronan I, and I send you all out many blessings and good fortunes.